welcome. Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and I'm so excited to welcome you to my channel. This is May I Scrap Lift You May, and today I am scrap lifting Scrappy Kia, or Laura Moss. She and some other close to my heart consultants did some layouts for a workshop from the In Full Bloom collection, and I just fell in love with this one page. And I had these photos that I had pulled out, gosh, when the first the yearly idea book came out, and it's of our oldest kind of getting some first communion training earlier than most would get first communion training, but we grew up in a different church that once they could eat bread, they were welcome to communion. So when we moved, we kind of had to bridge that gap. And the colors in Pastor Catherine's stole and the background of the church and everything else just work so well for the As You Grow collection. And then last night, my husband's working a strange second shift. I had all of these pieces, parts for flowers on my desk, and I wasn't motivated necessarily to scrapbook, but I decided I had the mental capacity to just tediously assemble flowers. So that was that bucket of flowers that you saw. So this is Lara's layout in the upper corner, and I'm just ripping it literally is leftovers that I have from doing other projects. And so Close to My Heart has white core paper and cardstock, and so if you tear it towards you, you get the white showing on the paper up, that's facing you. So I'm just gonna tear the edges of all of these strips and kind of emulate this layout. And one of the things that I noticed on this layout, and I didn't emulate it, was that there's a heavier color tone in the very center of both the vertical and horizontal lines. And that's actually a really good technique to get or to learn, or an observation to have. And it's funny, but I didn't see that in there until after I had finished my layout. And what I did to find balance was I ended up putting my heavier or my darker colors on each of the outside edges that kind of were the balance of the darker colors of the photos, or at least that's what I was trying to do. So here I just have my T-ruler out. I'm just measuring what it would take to have one mat for under these photos. And so I'm just cutting a 5x7 mat out. It's just, I think, a coincidence that it works, that I can get these on that size mat. And then I don't want it, necessarily all regimented. I have ripped all the strips, and so it's not, it's more of a distressed layout that I'm going for, not a clean line thing. And if you hear a bunch of noise in the background, I apologize. This is kind of the take 2 of the birthday slumber party that we are having for our 13-year-old boy. So we have 5 13-year-olds running around, and they're playing hide and seek tag. So it was a quiet moment, and then it gets loud for a little bit, and then we'll go back to quiet. So I was trying to get this voiceover done during the quiet. So here now I'm just taking the strips, and some of them I can do top and bottom around that photo mat. Others of them I need to keep long because they don't have the photo mat hiding their centers. And I didn't want to have to fuss with or fight with the horizontal line and to know exactly where that was going to be placed. I kind of was just, free form. On the layout that Lara did, it's all the edges are cut and they're crisp. And here, like I said, I'm going for a more distressed or grunge look. And so this cardstock here was absolutely leftovers from my Makers with Heart video. And because I don't have long enough pieces for it, I knew that I was going to have to tuck those in behind the photo mat. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. And I'm just ripping towards me so that, the green side has the white exposed, and away from me so that the pink plaid side has it exposed, and just playing with the papers. And I really like the versatility of the white core there. So this is where I pulled the deeper colors from the photo. It actually has more of a orange hue to it, but with Pastor Catherine's stole, I think this sangria works really well. And I went ahead and used both the dark and the light side in those strips in the background to help kind of bring your eye into the photo. And with all the flowers that I had done on my desk, I I feel like I went overboard in my normal embellishment. I normally am restrained in my embellishments, but sometimes you just have to have fun with it. And I wanted more of this floral paper, and I didn't have any scraps left, but I do have the Picture My Life cards. So I'm just ripping one of those that still has the floral pattern in it, and I'm going to tuck in the part that had the, I don't know what you would call it, like a date sentiment or a date journaling spot on it. So that's tucked in behind my photos. And then I love these doilies. This is from the Hope and Kindness collection. There's a bundle that you can get if you purchase the Hope and Kindness bundle that has the doily in it, or you can just buy the doily outright. But I have just fallen in love with this doily. So now as I'm looking at the page, I feel like that white background is just too stark. So I went out to the garage and I grabbed the Lemonade, Glacier, and Harbor cardstocks to have as a new base. And the funny thing is my bet was going to be Glacier, but when I put that Harbor there, it just matched with the intensity, the depth of the sangria. And so since the photos have that rich colors in them, it just, that's what needed to happen. And these butterflies, I actually assembled them two different ways. The first one that you saw, the wings in the black of the butterfly were adhered to the base. And then on this one, I only glued the body and the antennae onto the butterfly base. So I like that. It feels like it gives it some movement. I'm pulling my daisies. I'm going to pull the leaves that I did a whole sheet of leaves on. And these are all cuts, other than the daisies, from the In Full Bloom collection. And actually the centers of the daisies are the centers of the cameras that I cut and sent to my VIP members in their monthly thank you club card kit. So the petals of the daisies aren't from the In Full Bloom digital collection, but the centers of them are. So I just shaped my flowers to give some dimension. It's funny when you lay them down flat versus when they're shaped. It really, for me, visually makes a difference. So now I'm trying to kind of do that diagonal from left bottom to upper right corner. And now I'm starting to look at Lara's layout again, and there's embellishments, and there were stitches actually down each of the strips on her layout, but I didn't want to do that. My sewing machine for paper is in the garage on a shelf that would be very difficult to get to at this point. We are 3 weeks away from when the movers are coming, so I don't have as much access to anything anymore, but since we did find a house, I'm packing differently. I don't have to carry everything on the plane that I thought I was going to continue to make layouts. So off screen, I glued all of my flowers down. You kind of saw me putting them on there, but I've glued them down now, and it still needed something. So I just took my white gel pen, as you can see, and I'm going ahead and doing some stitching lines. The Perfectly Imperfect stamp set has some stitch lines on it, and I thought about in Harbor ink doing those down the strips on the paper to more Scraplift Lara's layout. But again, I don't know, I felt like it was getting so busy with the flowers and the butterfly and the doily and all the patterns that I just kind of needed to take a step back and go, nope, this is good. So then I did my journaling on the computer, and it just talks about how Pastor Catherine and Abra made bread together, and that was the bread that we celebrated with at Maundy Thursday services in 2005. So I really like how this layout came together. Thank you for letting me scrap lift you. Her link will be in my description, so be sure to check out her version of this. There's how you can get connected to me on social media. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, that would be great, and a thumbs up is the nicest thank you can give us. Here's another video you may be interested in, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.